All right. So lots of yummy soup, and then
You did prepare.
wonderful. It looks like awesome. So anyway, I already prayed, and so let's start with the part of this table out. We'll start over here.
This is a Christmas club boxes, and we shipped it to Africa and Asia. There's a lot of gifts inside. You want to say something?
It needs more people here.
A little tighter here.
Come on,
That's your short, Mom.
okay, tell us what you see.
Come on, boys.
Maybe if you stand up on that one. So maybe if you stand on the chair, you can get
Don't fall.
We have one easy.
All right. Very cool.
Oh, here you are.
Dad, smile.
One more, and that's it. 1, 2, 3. In front of your face. Ooh, this is blurry.
On each of the children that will receive them, and on the other boxes that are being gathered around across the United States. Father, we thank you for each one of the children that will receive these, and for the love that it will show to them, for the discipleship material they will get. We just ask that each child will be touched and will come to know you better through these boxes.
Lord, I just thank you so much for just letting us be here as your children. And I ask that these children know that there's a reason for these boxes, and that they know the reason is yours.
God, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to give for you, Lord, and that it would touch each of our hearts, Lord, that we would see the need to reach out your hand through us, God, and just help those kids to understand their need for you, God, and that you bless them richly every day. And through these boxes, they can just open.
Came out of, actually when Franklin Graham was a teenager, he was very rebellious against his family. He drank, he smoked, he snuck out at night. His mom prayed and prayed for him. It wasn't until his 20s that he came back to the Lord. And when he came back, he really dedicated his life to God. And he really wanted to reach out to young people because of the struggles that he had. And he was very thankful, and if you read his works, he talks about his mom and how some nights when he was sneaking out the window, she was downstairs praying for him, and she could hear him open the window and go out and jump off the roof and leave. And yet she continued to pray for him and to pray that God would, and it took a long time for that to happen. But when it did, Franklin Graham decided that he really wanted to focus on reaching out to young people. How am I going to do that? You know, yeah, the work that my dad has done is great. You know, he's done these great revivals. He's reached many people all around the world. But I want to reach young people. And so he came up with this dream then of reaching children through shoeboxes. And it started out very small, and it has just, you know, just grown and grown and grown and grown. And this year, I think they said that it's close to 3 million boxes that will be sent out, and to remote areas, not just to places where airplanes go, but where canoes go, where people backpack them in, because it's so remote that they backpack them in there. And the neat thing about it is it wasn't just a matter of taking these boxes and giving them toys and fun things, and you know, because for some people Christmas isn't what it is for us. That means nothing to them. So they get these gifts and they're like, yeah. So they came up with this discipleship program, and so when the children get their boxes, they will also get leaders who come there and will teach them and will share with them the gospel. And this weekend, Anna and I had the opportunity to see a lady named Kiwi, who, now this is a different organization, but it just goes to show you how God works in people's life. Kiwi was touched through Compassion International. And if you know of Compassion International, it's an organization that goes in and helps children who are in very poverty-stricken areas and helps to make sure they have food, that they get an education. And in this lady Kiwi's life, and I knew when she started, I was kind of like, I just had this feeling. And then as she progressed in her story, because she told it like this little girl Kiwi in the Philippines, and this is what happened to her. But you finally realize this lady standing up here is Kiwi. She's the one this happened to. And she talks about the abject poverty that she lived in and how her father drank every penny that they had, and she had bottles of liquor up there to symbolize what had happened in her family. And but the exciting thing is, at the end of it, she told about, because of compassion, she became a Christian. She was educated here in the States. She became a physical therapist. 2 years ago, she was able to bring her parents to the United States. Her parents are now Christians, and her mom is a pastor at a church. So, I mean, just hearing that and thinking about, you know, like the Shoebox Ministry, Compassion International, those that touch children, it doesn't just touch the children, it touches their families. And so what we do, and another thing that I really like about Operation Christmas Child is the fact that everything in those boxes goes to a child. 100% of what we send goes. There's no cost for anybody else. And if you see the big warehouses that they have warehouses where they'll check all of these boxes. They'll go through every single, that's why we have to have them in so early. Because they check them, and then they put in there the discipleship program that they will use to teach the children with them too. And, you know, so that's just so exciting, because we are touching children that none of us would ever be able to touch, because we give. And, you know, yeah, we're a small congregation, and yes, we're only doing just, you know, a small amount of boxes, but every child matters. So every box that we do is touching a child, you know. So thank you for doing that. And we thank God for the ministry of Franklin and Graham, and that he had this vision to do this and to send these boxes out and to disciple these children, you know. And we really need to have a heart for our children here in the States too, and know that, you know, all of our kids that we have here tonight, you are special. You are. We love you so much, and we want you to know the Lord, and we want you to have that real relationship with Him in your lives, because that's the most important thing. Everything else in the world doesn't matter, but that relationship with Jesus is the most important thing. If you have that, you have everything. If you don't have Jesus, you have nothing. And so, so thank you for doing that, and thank you for sharing in this ministry, this vision that Franklin and Graham had. And so I would like to have a volunteer from each table pray tonight for the shoeboxes. So could I have a volunteer from this table?